Hello everybody, Incon here, and today we're going to be talking about an item that is long forgotten but still able to be bought, which is Pythagorean's Piece. We're going to talk about what it is, what it does, and what gods you should be looking to pick it up on. So to start us off, what is Pythagorean's Piece? Pythagorean's Piece is a magical damage item. It costs 2,300 gold. It comes from the lifesteal tree. No, Pythags, why? Where have you gone? It's going to come from the lifesteal tree right here. And we're going to have Tiny Trinket into Enchanted Trinket, finally finishing up with our Pythagorean's Piece. So 2,300 gold will get us all the way there. And then we have the stats. 40 magical power, 200 health, 12% magical lifesteal, and 10% cooldown reduction. So as far as its base stats, pretty broad. It's got a lot of things covered. It's got a bit of power, bit of health, bit of lifesteal, bit of cooldown reduction. Doesn't have a super identity there. It's very much like covering all of its bases. And what makes it special is the aura on Pythags. Allied gods, including yourself, within 70 units, have their magical lifesteal increased by 12%, and their magical power increased by 30. Or if they're a physical god, they have their physical lifesteal increased by 10% and their physical power increased by 20. Which means that this item is actually giving you 70 magical power and 24% magical lifesteal, which is really strong as far as one item goes, especially for 2,300 gold. So let's compare that to another lifesteal item so we kind of have an idea of where it's falling in line. So another very, very popular, in fact, the most popular lifesteal item picked up on mages is going to be Bancroft's Talon. It's 2,500 gold, so 200 gold more expensive. It is 100 magical power instead of 70. You get 15% magical lifesteal instead of 24%, and you get 150 mana instead of the cooldown reduction you get on Pythags. But Bancroft's Talon's passive, of course, gives you more lifesteal and power per missing health, up to an additional 100 power and an additional 20% lifesteal, which you get that max cap if you're down to 25% health. So potentially can give you 200 magical power and 35% magical lifesteal. But of course, in order to utilize all of that, you have to be low on your HP. So that's kind of its comparison item, which is why you see Bancroft pick up more often. Gives you above the 24% lifesteal that Pythags does. And while it's not happening all the time, it's happening when you need it most, which is why Bancroft is typically picked up on characters. But Pythags definitely has its own niche, and it's going to be on different characters. You don't really pick up, say, a Pythags on Hebo, where you're picking up the Bancroft, but you can pick it up on other characters that probably don't want the Bancroft to begin with. So who's picking up Pythagorean's Piece? Well, you've got two options. You've got your mages that can pick it up, and you've got your guardians that can pick it up. Right off the bat, the easiest people to pick it up on is going to be your guardians. Mages typically want to go a bit more selfish, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So guardians are actually a great character in order to pick it up on. Whether you're guardian support or guardian solo, typically the two roles where guardians are played. Either way, you can look to pick that up. It's going to basically be an aura item for you. So when you think about your aura items and you think about your supporty items, you think more like Sovereignty, and people think Heart Ward, and especially, oh god, what's that one item right now? This one, woo, Talisman of Energy, great item. We've talked about that beforehand. But Pythagorean's Piece is in fact an aura item, and it is in fact buffing your team, and it's both a defensive and an offensive item in that it's giving out power to your team, so they're doing just a little bit more damage. It's not a significant amount of power. 20 physical power is better than 30 magical power, so it's better for your physical characters. But the lifesteal is actually pretty nice, especially when you're stacking it on top of lifesteal they already have. So your hunter's got Devo gloves, and that's great, but you're giving him another 10% lifesteal on top of that lifesteal that he already has. That starts to make a big difference in those lifesteal numbers. Or God forbid somebody's got like a lifesteal built into their kit, like Pele. So Pele's healing herself with her passive. Maybe she's got a soul leader. Plus you're giving the Pythags piece lifesteal on her. She's probably overcapped on her lifesteal at this point. She's got so much lifesteal. But the point being that it is a very good item to help support your team. I like it as a head item. So when you're behind, the lifesteal maybe isn't quite as important as something as well that would give you like defense, because you're trying to live through the pressure when you're behind. But when you're ahead, having that extra lifesteal is going to be one, great for your team around objectives. It means that you can keep pulling and resetting the Gold Fury because you're going to be healing more than you would be, so you're losing less HP, so it's less risky. Same thing for things like Giant Fire Portal. It's less risky because you're getting more lifesteal on your team, so your ADC can kind of poke and pull and poke and pull and not really have to worry about the damage that they're taking because they're healing up more than they normally would be. So if you're playing aggressive, whether it's that you're a Guardian, support, or solo, but if your team is winning and you're feeling good, I like the Pythag's piece pickup in order to keep that snowball type play style going. So what if you're a mage? Do I pick up Pythagorean's piece? Standardly, it's going to be a no for picking up Pythags when you're playing a mage, but there is actually a situation where I do like it on you, and it's going to be the flip side of what I just said. I actually like it when you're behind on mages picking up the Pythagorean's piece. The reason why I like it from behind on mages is not so much like a situation necessarily where maybe your entire team is behind. I'm talking about you yourself are behind. You're playing a god, you're playing your mage in the mid lane or even the solo lane, and you understand that you got beat. For whatever reason, you got ganked, you got 1v1'd, your keyboard turned off, whatever, you got beat, it happens, you're behind 2-3 levels, you're behind 1,000 gold, whatever, you're not providing as much damage to the team as your team would hope for. Especially in situations where you have teammates ahead, right? You got your butt kicked in mid lane, but your dual lane rocked the other dual lane socks off, okay? It's okay to transition into more of a support style build, where you're about helping your teammates out because you know that you're not going to be the strongest link in the chain that game. It's okay to acknowledge that and to build into that. So if you're playing a solo lane Zhonghui, you got your butt kicked, you're not really helping that much, it's okay to pick up that Pythags. If you're playing Scylla mid and you got your butt kicked, it's okay to pick up Pythags to make sure your team gets extra power, your team gets those extra stats. It also means that your support characters cannot worry about getting Pythags. They can get the other aura items, so you're just stacking up all those auras on your team. And I do like it in that situation where you say, hey, I sucked at this game, it happens, but you're doing good, so I'm going to buff your brains out so you can carry me. That's it, guys. That's what I like about Pythagorean's piece. I really think that it's going to be strongest on those, like I said, Guardians when your team is ahead. Try picking it up. Try seeing how it goes. It's also going to buff your damage a little bit on the Guardian, which isn't bad, especially since we're in an aggressive meta when you're playing characters like Cerberus or RDO, who already have good damage in their kit. Just a little bit more damage is going to be nice for you. Or when you're on those mages and you're behind and your other teammates are doing well, try to buff them up. Try to utilize their strengths to be your strength, since you're already the team's weakness. So thank you guys for your support. I appreciate it. Thank you for the video. If you've got anything you'd like covered in the future, please let me know down in the comments. I always read those, and I get a lot of my videos ideas from there. So thank you for those of you guys that help, and as always, have a twitchin' day, y'all. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell, guys, in order to get notifications for our uploads. If you want to go the extra mile to help support the Twitchiest community, you can always go to our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Incon and use your Twitch Prime sub there. It's a great way to help support the community. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a twitchin' day, y'all.